Hello children, welcome to another class of physics today. The previous topic that we started was Newton's first law of motion, and today we are going to continue with we are going to start with a new law, that is Newton's second law. Alright, and Newton's second law of motion is basically the law of momentum, we can say. Newton's second law or the law of momentum, or simply the motion, we can also replace it to be as Newton's second law of motion. So motion and momentum over here are going to play a vital role, so that's what I replaced and written down momentum. Okay, before we start, let's study what is momentum. Momentum is simply the instantaneous force which a body possesses due to combined effect of mass and velocity. Now what does this mean, instantaneous force, combined effect? To study that properly, let's take an example that I'm having a thin glass plate. Alright, a very thin glass plate. I'll be taking two cases in which I'll be dropping a ball of mass 20 gram, a metallic ball, from a height 10 centimeter. And second case I'll be taking in which I'll be dropping a ball of mass 500 gram from the very same height. Clear? In the first case, when we are going to drop a mass of hardly 20 gram on very thin plate, is it going to break? Obviously not the ball, the plate I'm asking. Definitely not, it won't break. Let's take the case of 500 gram. Now when we are going to drop this from a certain height, definitely you having this huge mass as compared to this, so definitely this is going to break. But why is it so that in the first case it doesn't break and the second case is getting breaking down? So that is where we are having the momentum coming into role, or the existence of the momentum. As soon as we are having, or as and when we are having low mass, so that means this is having a low amount of force effect with the velocity that it is moving. We know that due to acceleration, due to gravity, more will be the mass, so more will be the force. Clear? So that means if the mass is more, so we'll be having a greater effect of mass and velocity, and therefore this will be hit with a huge force as compared to the case 1. So therefore it is going to break. So that means over here the two cases we saw that it was the effect of mass and velocity that played a vital role. Now, so what is momentum? So momentum is basically the mass into velocity, and since it is having velocity and the direction taken into consider, so yes, it will be a vector quantity. The unit of momentum will be Newton. 1 Newton second, that will be equal to 1 kilogram meter per second, and in dyne, 1 dyne second, that can also be represented at 1 gram per centimeter per second in CGS form. Now let us take the two cases in which I am having an initial momentum of a body and the final momentum of a body. Let's say that the initial momentum, the mass obviously remains the same m, and even after the momentum. Now over here, initially before dropping, the object mass was m, and even after it is being dropped, the moment it has collided or the collision had happened, then also the mass is going to remain the same. I'll tell you a case when we are going to have a difference in masses also. So that means mass will be same, and initial velocity v1, final velocity v2. So that means the momentum, initial momentum will be p1 equal to mv1, p2 equal to mv2. Now students make mistake, they write down m1 m2. The same object is not going to make or change in mass. I'll tell you a condition, again I am restricting myself, I'll tell you a condition when will the mass get changed. So that means the difference in momentum will be equal to, now what is this del sign, this triangular sign that you can see? This is basically known as delta, which shows change for small quantities, and very small, then we use this del sign, delta and del sign. Okay, so that means over here p2 minus p1 will be equal to mv2 minus v1. So difference can be represented as delta p, so which will be equal to m of v2, because m is going to be the same as v2 minus v1. So this is what we know is the representation for the change in momentum. Delta p is nothing, simply the change in momentum. Delta v is nothing, simply the change in velocity. So that means the change in momentum is equal to mass into change in velocity. But what if I write down that this will be equal to the change of mv? Yes, I am correct. But now over here we know that if this factor is going to get changed, is it possible? No, this is not getting changed, but this is a factor that will definitely play a important effect for the momentum to be changed. So right now that is what m will remain the same, so it can be written as m into delta v. Okay, Now let's take up a new case for the same part of momentum. When are we going to see the change in masses? Now if we are having a case in which when we are talking about the subatomic particles, we know that since they are very light, so the velocity which are comparable to the velocity of light, clear, because if they are provided the acceleration, the mass does not remain constant. So what will happen, there will be a change in mass that will be seen. So that means if an object is provided the speed such as that it start moving with the velocity of light, so in that case there will be a difference in the masses before the or the initial momentum, and for the final momentum there will be a change in the masses also. So if an object is not provided the speed velocity, or the velocity with the object is moved is very small as compared to the velocity of light, then this condition will be true, alright, or this will be the only condition true, clear. But normally when we take into consideration that if an object is provided with the velocity of light, then this will be false in that very case. So now after having cleared up the momentum part, let's see what is now Newton's second law of motion. So Newton's second law of motion is the rate of change of linear momentum is directly proportional to the applied force and takes the direction in which the force is applied. To study that in a better way, let's take up a case that initially a ball is provided with a velocity u, and after t time, it is after t second, is notice that it starts, or the velocity that it attains is v. Initial momentum mu, final momentum mv, change in momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum, taking out m common, v minus u. Now change in momentum in t second. Now that is what is rate of change in momentum, just like rate of change of displacement or rate of change of velocity, dividing that very change by time. So similarly I am dividing that change by time, so that will be now referred to as rate of change in momentum, okay. So that will be equal to m into v minus u upon t. We know that what is v minus u upon t? Rate of change in velocity, and that is acceleration. So we can replace v minus u upon t by a, which can be written as f is equals to ma. And now what is this? This is the force. So what is the rate of change in momentum? That is ma, and which is the applied force. So what is the change happening? The rate of change of happening is directly proportional to the applied force. So it is directly proportional to the applied force, and F will be equal to kma, where k is the proportionality constant, k will be equal to 1, and therefore this will be the formula, which is also the formula for the force. Clear? What is force? Force is equal to mass into acceleration, or product of mass or combined effect of mass with acceleration will be the force. Alright, you can pause the video, go through this thing before we move ahead. Continuing with the same part, let's see now if we are able to derive out a relation between the SI and CGS unit. We know that what is 1 Newton? 1 Newton is the amount of force, or the SI unit of force, which can be written as mass into acceleration. Mass is equal to, let's take it to be as 1 kg for 1 Newton, and the acceleration produced over a body is 1 meter per square second. So we know that this can be written as 1 kilogram, can be written as 1000 gram, and meter per square second can be written as centimeter per square second by converting meter into centimeter. So therefore this is what we are going to obtain. Now what is this thing? Gram centimeter per square second. This is dyne. We know that what is 1 dyne equal to? That is equal to 1 gram per square 1 gram centimeter per square second. So that is what I am replacing, 1 dyne, and therefore 1 Newton equal to 10 to the power 5 dynes. Alright. Okay, just a small reference. Now what is this happening? Can you make out? You can pause the video before I explain you, and you can then cross check what did you understand from it. Okay, initially it was a small mass. The force when applied, an unbalanced force, I'll say to be more precise, an unbalanced force acts on a body which leads to its movement, and it will move quite fast. We know that since the object is quite small, or basically small mass, so that means if the mass is small, force when applied, it will be producing a large acceleration. Clear? Alright, an unbalanced force. Now if we provide the same unbalanced force to a large mass, we can see, so what will happen? This will produce small acceleration, and so the movement will not be, or it will not move very far, it will be to a limited amount. It will be quite far as compared to this because it is having small mass. So smaller mass leads to large acceleration for the same force, and large mass will lead to small acceleration. All right. Always remember, if the forces are unbalanced, then there will be an acceleration. Clear? That is what we saw in the previous sheet that we saw. And the acceleration will depend upon directly upon the net force. All right, because they will be unbalanced. If there is more than one force, so there will be the net force that will be taken into consideration. So that the acceleration will entirely depend upon obviously the force, and also it will depend upon the mass. The acceleration is inversely proportional to the object's mass. All right, clear? So that means that is what we saw in this very sheet when we were discussing that if the mass is greater, small is the acceleration inversely, and if smaller is the mass, larger is the acceleration, inversely proportional. Okay, now let's see what is impulse. We have already seen the combined effect of mass and velocity, that was termed to be as momentum. Now let's see what is impulse. Impulse, as we know that force is equals to mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration means m into v minus u upon t. And what is m into v minus u? Change in momentum upon t, the time. So force can be also written as this very thing. If we cross multiply, send time to the other side, so force multiplied by time will be the change in momentum. That means, can I say that the combined effect of force into time, that means the duration for which a force is acting, that means the time, and the amount of force that is acting. So this is what is referred to as the combined effect of force and time, will be equal to the change in momentum, isn't it? From the formula only we'll get to know. So what is this? This is basically the force which acts on a body for a small duration of time. The duration of the time present is quite small, but it produces a significant change in momentum. Obviously more will be the force, maybe for the same amount of time, or the time, as the time varies, so change in momentum is also going to vary. This value will entirely depend upon force into time. That is what is the combined effect of the force with respect to time, of even for a small duration. Let's see about the unit. We know that this is equal to force into time, and what is that equal to? Change in momentum, and m being mass, change in velocity means meter per second, so that means its unit will be kilogram meter per second. All right, okay. All right, let us take numericals. Now the question says that a motorcyclist with a machine weighs 160 kg. All right, the mass is given as 160 kg. While driving at a speed of 72 km per hour, he stops his machine over a distance of 8 meters. So that means the distance covered is 8 meter. So that means if he stops, so that means the final velocity will be 0, isn't it? All right, find the retarding force for the brakes. All right, retarding force. Now we do not know anything apart from this. First of all, what we can do is that let's convert the initial speed into meter per second, converting and multiplying by 5/18 will be get the in meter per second. Now after that we can apply motion equation, because we are having the final speed, initial speed, and the distance. So can we get an acceleration? That what is the acceleration? Because maybe simply talk about force. So what is force? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. So retarding force will depend upon the retardation. So for that we really need to have this value. So that is what we are calculating, and it comes out to be minus 25 meter per square second. That is acceleration. But retarding force will depend upon retardation. So that is the negative of this value. So that means it will be 25 meter per square second. So retarding force, that is force equal to mass into acceleration, mass into retardation. 160 kg is the initial thing, mass was given to us. Retardation we have calculated as 25 meter per square second, which on multiplying will give us 4000 Newton. Let us take our next numerical. Now in which it says that a force of 500 dynes acts on a mass of 0.05 kg over a distance of 50 meter. The distance where it gets drag is 20 meter. 20 meter is the distance given. Assuming that the mass is initially at rest, that means u is equals to 0. Find the final velocity and the time for which the force acts. All right, okay. let's calculate the acceleration, that what will be the acceleration of the object. Acceleration will be equal to force upon mass, that is force is given, mass is given, so we'll get to know the acceleration happening. How much is the distance? 20 meter. Let's convert into centimeter because we have calculated the acceleration also in centimeter per square second. So that means applying the motion equation v square minus u square equal to 2as, substituting the value, final velocity is unknown. Initial velocity is 0 at starts from rest is equal to 2 into a into s, so that comes out to be 200 centimeter per second. Now v is equal to u plus at, so final velocity we have calculated, initial is 0, acceleration is 10 into time, solving which we get a value of 20 seconds. So this is what is the time period that will be taken by it, for which, or the duration for which the force is acting upon it. Alright, you can pause the video, go through the numerical if you have any problem. Now the last thing for the day is Newton's third law of motion. That is very simple. This, to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. If you try hit or punching a wall, you will get hurt. Why? Because the same amount of force is reacting back. So ultimately, basically if we say the main reaction is the force taking into count, or the effect is coming out because of the reaction force. And now let's say that we are having an object which is at rest. So that means at present the weight of the object is W, which is acting in the downward direction, and the reaction is the force in the upward direction. Clear? That is the normal reaction happening. So simply to every action there is equal and opposite reaction that it happens. Be it walking on a plain ground where the reaction again plays a part, that is why we are able to push ahead, or in the acts in the opposite direction. Everywhere, to all these things we can see that, or we can relate the Newton's third law of motion. Alright children, okay, with this we come to the end, and do go through all this stuff, and whatever is not clear, let me know, we'll take up in the next class through our videos. And do watch the entire videos, because now I'll be giving the homework in the videos, so that you people start watching and learning from your videos properly. Make sure. So now on, what I am trying to do is that I'll be giving you the homework in the video. Alright. Okay children, so that's it for the day. Stay home, stay safe. Bye bye.